For joining me. You joined me on the back of mydentist investing over 70 million developing its practices. So what exactly, where is this money going? What are you spending the money on?
I think the simple answer is that we're investing a very substantial amount of money. You've mentioned over £70 million, really to make mydentist the very best place to practice dentistry anywhere in the UK. And in real terms, what that means is we're investing in our network of practices, in many cases picking up our smaller practices and merging them and moving them to create modern scaled practices that are better equipped and in prime locations, typically on the high street. We're investing in our support network of clinical leadership, so clinical mentors, clinical support managers, and really to give our clinicians, particularly our younger clinicians, the support and leadership that they need to develop their careers. So it's a very comprehensive program indeed, and will take place over the next 3 years.
Okay, so it sounds like a lot of behind the scenes investment. How will dentists will every practice realise this investment, and how will they experience it on a day-to-day in their practice, in the surgery?
Yeah, so we think that everyone, literally right across the business, is going to see the benefits of this investment at some point over the next 3 years. Clearly, we can't do it all at once, and it won't all happen overnight. But even if you are a clinician or receptionist in one of those practices that we're not picking up and moving to create a larger modern practice, typically, as I said, on the high street, your practice will go through a refresh program that will see your own practice being refreshed, re-equipped with modern digital equipment, typically introduction of intraoral scanning, for example. And you will also, of course, see the benefits of additional support if you're a clinician, and indeed you'll see the benefits of the investment that we're making in the salaries of our frontline staff.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll come back to the salaries. Just focusing on the equipment. So you mentioned intraoral scanners. Are there any other pieces of equipment that you're kitting out the surgeries with? And I assume you providing the training behind that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So in addition to our network of what I call our general practices, we are also investing in a network of specialist centres. We call them advanced oral health centres, which are designed to offer more complex treatments, typically implants, endodontics and perio. And we have now 18 of those around the country, and everything that our research is telling us is that we need to get to a network of over 40 to capture about 80% of our internal referrals nationally. So we are investing not just in our general practices, but also in this network of specialist practices. And then in addition to that, of course, we have now also carved out and created a specialist orthodontic business with some 37 dedicated ortho practices across the country. So you can see that we're also investing right across the board.
So is that where you see the growth then for mydentists looking forward, in the specialist areas, the private treatments?
Yeah, I think we can see that the real growth for mydentist is offering patients nationally better access to affordable dental treatment that is so badly needed across the country today. And as I said, we will do that by creating a network of modern scaled practices in the right locations. We will be equipping our practices with modern equipment, but perhaps most importantly of all, we are helping our clinicians to provide the treatments and care that they want to provide.
Yeah, okay. And you mentioned previously about the salary rises, and that came obviously, clearly, with a lot of positive news behind it, a lot of positive momentum. So can you just give us the headlines? So I understand you've offered a salary, is it £5 million increase for investment into dental nursing? But it's not just dental nursing, is it?
Correct. So this year, 2022, we have increased our salaried payroll by over £5 million. So that's a £5 million investment in the salaries of our frontline staff. And that, by the way, is on top of the £4 million increase that we gave to our frontline staff last year. So what it means, if you're in a practice team anywhere in mydentist, your average increase this year will be just over 5%. For two-thirds of our frontline practice teams will see an increase of over 6%, and something like 60% of our receptionists will see a pay rise of more than 9%. So these are pretty substantial increases, and we think that they're both fair and the right thing to do, and will help our staff to cope with the real significant cost of living increases that are so well documented at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the cost of living, that is continuously rising. So does this investment stop here, or looking at, I mean, I don't want to push you down an answer you don't want to give, but is this where mydentist pay rises ends, or in the future is there always room for movement?
Yeah, of course. Look, we've got to clearly watch what's going on in the economy as a whole and make sure we respond to that. But what we have seen clearly is the average earnings of our clinicians, who are now doing substantially more private treatments, that the level of private work that they are doing today has more than doubled from this point last year, and their private earnings therefore have effectively doubled. So it's not just our practice staff that are benefiting, we're clearly seeing our clinicians also benefiting at the same time.
Okay, and what does this mean for people who don't necessarily work at mydentist, that might be starting at mydentist? Will they be able to get access to those benefits as well?
Yeah, for sure, because if you are just starting out as a young clinician and you're just starting your career with mydentist, I think probably the first thing that you will notice above all else is that we are now listening to you, and we are trying to build a business around you and helping you to pursue the career that you want to pursue. Some of those clinicians will be wanting to pursue a career in NHS dentistry, others will be wanting to do more private work. And really the big difference today is that we are now saying we will help you to pursue the career that you want to pursue. And that is very, very different to where the business was perhaps even 5 years ago.
Okay. One of the recent announcements was that IDH, which is mydentist's parent company, has sold DD. So how does this impact mydentist and the clinicians and the dental staff working in the practices?
Yeah, so that was clearly a key strategic decision to sell Dental Directory. Today it's called DD. And we think it was both the right thing for mydentist as well as for DD. What it has meant for mydentist is that it has allowed us to pay down a significant chunk of our borrowings, but also it has freed up a substantial chunk of capital, which is allowing us to make the investments in the business that I've already spoken to you about. So it is allowing us to push on, to make the necessary investments, both in our practice network as well as in our people.
Okay, and in the practices, what does that mean for buying things like consumables in the future? Does anything change?
Yeah, we think it does. We think it's going to certainly allow us to accelerate the introduction of digital technology, and clearly one of the big drivers in this is the introduction of intraoral scanning. So that program is now underway. We're also investing substantially in, which will be less visible to our staff, in our back office technology. And again, over time, we will see the introduction, for example, of online booking and an improved patient experience, something that really is non-existent in general UK dentistry today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so looking into the future, what are the plans for mydentist now? Do you want to expand, consolidate? What's the plans for mydentist in the future?
Yeah, I think all of us at mydentist are excited about the future. I think that the company is already very, very different to the one of even 5 years ago. But the plans for the next 3 years are perhaps even more transformative. In essence, what we're trying to do is to build a business now around our clinicians. As I've said to you already, to help and support our clinicians to pursue the careers that they want to pursue. And that means investing in a modern practice network that with practices that are in the right locations, investing in the right training and support for our clinicians and allowing them to pursue the careers that they want to pursue, whether that is in the NHS or indeed privately. And already we're starting to see the benefits of that. We're seeing clinicians from right across the country, whether they're experienced clinicians or foundation dentists in their final year before they fully qualify, wanting to come and work for us because they can see that this is a business that cares for them and cares for their careers. And interestingly also, we're starting to see clinicians from overseas also seeing us as the go-to destination if you're a young overseas clinician wanting to again make a career in the UK. So we think the future is really exciting for us.
Okay, and just looking at practice growth, will you be looking to expand your portfolio?
We will. I have to say that just numbers of practices is not the overriding goal. I think the overriding goal for us is, as I said, to create a business that is genuinely seen as the number one destination for clinicians in this country. Somewhere where you can genuinely pursue the career that you want to pursue, whether that's NHS or indeed private. And perhaps the one thing I should mention, it's something I haven't really spoken about, but we are, again, I think, the only organisation today that is really rolling out on a national scale an affordable private brand of dentistry. And for some time we have seen a huge gap in the market between NHS dentistry, where today if you are trying to get onto an NHS list, it's almost impossible to get an NHS appointment. And your only alternative is to go private, and that is considered by many people rightly in this country as unaffordable. And there is no one at scale offering something in the middle ground, an affordable private range of treatments. And that is something we introduced fairly recently, only just before the pandemic. And today that business is accelerating hugely. And we think, particularly if we do go into a period of sustained economic downturn, that business is really well positioned to ride out the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, thank you for your time. I really appreciate your time, and yeah, we look forward to the rest of 2022 and seeing into 2023 how things go.
Great. Thank you very much, Seb. I've enjoyed talking to you. Thanks.